This is part 3 for identifying characters. This is the rhinoceros story that's in your packet. I'm sorry I didn't get it out sooner. I had some other things I had to deal with at the time. But remember, we're identifying characters. So we're talking about a person or an animal in a story. And when we're reading or listening to that story, we're looking for what the characters do, what they say, and what they feel. Those 3 things are very key when you think about a character. So we're going to read this story about rhinoceros. How the Rhinoceros Got His Skin. That is the title of our story. It's too dark for you to kind of see on my page, and it might even be too dark at home too. But let's get started. One day a baker made a plum cake. "I'm so happy," he cried. "It's perfect." But just then a rhinoceros came along. He was big and did whatever he wanted, so he gobbled up the cake and moved on. Only a few crumbs were left. Did you hear me read any characters to you? Did you see any characters or hear any characters? If you did, who did you hear? And what did they say, do, or feel? What do you think the characters might be feeling after this first page? "You destroyed my perfect cake!" the baker shouted after him. "You will pay!" The baker sounds a little angry. The next morning was hot, and the rhinoceros went down to the river. In those days, rhinos had smooth skin with buttons. The rhino undid the buttons and took off his skin. Then he went swimming. So the rhinoceros is going swimming. That's something he's doing, so that's important to notice about that character. The baker saw the rhinoceros's skin lying on the ground. "Hee hee," he laughed. He had an idea. The baker gathered the cake crumbs from the perfect plum cake. He dropped them inside the rhino's smooth skin. When the rhino came out of the river, he put his skin back on. His skin tickled and it itched. The rhinoceros rolled around, he rubbed against its tree, his skin got rumpled and wrinkled. But the itching did not stop. I bet you he's feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. Soon his rubbing broke off the buttons. The rhinoceros couldn't take off his skin anymore. From that day on, every rhinoceros has had folds in its skin and a bad temper too. Okay, so I noticed that we had 2 characters in that story. Can you name them? Okay, we have the baker and the rhinoceros. The baker, what does he do? What is something that he does? He baked a cake. And he also put the crumbs in the rhinoceros' skin. What did the rhino do or say? He ate all the cake. He went swimming. He did lots of things in this story. There's just some things that those characters did. We talk about how they feel. Because of what some of those characters did, it made them feel a certain way. We noticed when the baker was getting really upset, it was because the rhinoceros had eaten his cake. I noticed that the rhinoceros was feeling very uncomfortable because of the crumbs in his skin. So here are some questions I have for you for after the reading. This is in your packets. What does the rhinoceros do? A, he steps on the cake. B, he bakes the cake. Or C, he eats the cake. Circle the one you think he does. Question 2. How does the baker feel in this part of the story? It's on page 2, so let me go back to it. "You destroyed my perfect cake, the baker shouted after him. You will pay. How is he feeling there? Is he surprised, mad, or scared? Circle the one you think. What does the rhinoceros do at the river? Does he take off his skin to swim, wash his skin in the water, or pull the buttons off of his skin? What does he do at the river? What is the skin of the rhino like? His skin is dirty, small, or is it smooth? Circle the right one. What does the baker do in this part of the story? I'll go back and reread. The baker saw the rhinoceros's skin lying on the ground. He laughed. I have an idea. The baker gathered the cake crumbs from the perfect plum cake and he dropped them inside the rhino's smooth skin. What does the baker do? Does he gather crumbs to make cake? Does he put the crumbs inside the skin? Or does he drop crumbs on the ground? How does the rhino feel after he puts on his skin? Hot, itchy, or wet? Circle the one you think. What happens to the rhino's skin? This one is a picture question, so you'll have to use your packet to answer it. And you'll have to go into the actual story and look here, what does it look like? Is he stinky? You can skip this question because the pictures are too dark. Okay, so looking at the last question, back on the back, it says to look at the chart and choose the event that happened at the very end of the story. So it already shows you what happens in the beginning and in the middle. Now you just need to fill in this box here, which you're going to choose here. Does the rhino get bumpy skin? Does the rhino run away? Or does the rhino climb in a tree? What is he doing? All right, so remember to think about what the characters say, do, and feel within the story so that you can help understand, it can help you to understand the story better. If you have any questions, message me. Bye.